Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PC Gamer Show for, oh god, I forgot the date. It's February 28th. It's the last day in February.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Wow, not a leap year. Do you have a leap year birthday? Any of you? Do you know any leap year birthdays? I hate those people because they just make a point to point out how funny it is that their birthday's on a leap year. I'm 7. Okay, thanks. Anyway.
0.03%
Oh
of the
no!
audience right now.
How am I gonna get them back? Yeah. But anyway, this is a show about video games, I suppose. So we'll get to that now. But first, I need to introduce a special guest, Yonaman. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
This is if you don't know who Yonaman is, he's the creator of video games, the things we enjoy and consume, and hopefully appreciate beyond that. But yeah, so you just released today a game called Where the Water Tastes Like Wine.
Yeah, just this morning. It's available on Steam now if anyone wants to go check it out.
Perhaps purchase it, maybe, if you so choose. Yeah, and we'll be demoing sort of the intro of that game later and showing people, because it might be hard for some people to understand from the traditional, or it stands apart from the traditional, like what people might consider a video game as like a thing you level up in or shoot bad guys in. This is a much more sort of slower, thoughtful. I've played only like maybe the first half hour, but historical in a way, culturally historical game. So we'll have a lot to dig into when we get to that. But thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Also, Rachel.
Hi.
Our friend at Games Radar. Yes, thanks for coming on the show, stepping in, and joining us to talk about the computer games. Cool. Otherwise, on the show, we'll be having a quiz on folktales. I think after we do the demo from Where the Water Tastes Like Wine, we'll do a talk, or we have a quiz I set up where we will decipher which folktale is real and which is not. And I think it might be
at a disadvantage.
honestly. Like, there's some weird folktale names that read exactly like Chris Livingston jokes. So
Okay.
there's some toughies.
I do know my Chris Livingston jokes, so maybe.
So maybe you'll actually have an advantage in this. But first, let's talk about what we've been playing, if anything. Yonaman, have you had time to play any games at all?
Sadly, not really. A few weeks ago, I decided to dive into The Witcher 3 for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And I'm loving it, but I've had a chance to play maybe 4 hours total over the past couple months. So I don't, it's been busy. Is all
I'm jealous of the 200 hours you get to
right?
continue spending.
That's what I do after I ship a game.
Yeah.
Is I spend 200 hours killing wyverns or whatever. I don't know.
Well, great. Yeah, it's kind of our, I don't know, collectively, it's like the one game we all agree on in the office, I think. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Wait, you agree it's good? I hope.
Good.
Okay,
Yeah.
I figured, but
And Geralt is somewhat of an unofficial mascot of ours. So I think if you played the first couple hours, you've seen the tub.
Yes, I've seen the tub, and I've definitely seen all the articles using the tub as the image. I love that.
The unsanctioned brand is strong with us. Anything else besides your own game? Playtesting endlessly, I'm sure. But
yes, of course, absolutely that. But not. I've been playing Zelda too. Working through that slowly because I'm playing with my girlfriend, but we're we're making our way through that one as well.
Cool. Well, hopefully you have plenty of time now that the game is shipping to relax.
Exactly.
Relax.
There's so many
ideally,
things I want to play on my back burner. So
cool.
Yeah.
A lot of good ideas. Rachel, what about you?
I checked out the first episode of the new season of All Well, which is a kind of.
Oh wait. Okay. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt, but I thought that was just a standalone game.
So they did, they did the first one, and now they've got an episodic, like a second season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I played the first one, which I loved. Played the first chapter of the new series, also loved, but I'm just so greedy for it. It's all kind of surveillance, and it's going through people's internet histories and phones and Facebook profiles to help the government.
So you play Big Brother, essentially?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're there kind of trying to find contradictions or evidence that shows that they're part of kind of a terrorist organization against the nation. But
Dang.
Yeah, it's
that
really
sounds pretty
good.
cool.
It's a really nice UI as well. Which I know sounds nerdy, but
Actually, I saw you booted up on you have this beautiful widescreen curved monitor, and it looked like a scene from some kind of future movie because the widescreen resolution looked like it was supported too.
Yeah.
And you boot it up, and it's got this like login screen, and it like emulates a computer UI, futuristic like Minority Report looking UI. So
I loved it.
I love those kind of clicky interface games like that. Those are some of my favorites.
I played that. I've been playing more They Are Billions.
Oh yeah.
Which is just like a joy. Like, even though it's really hard and it's pretty brutal in terms of the way the zombies come at you and the amount of time it gives you to kind of get ready for the attack. It's just, I love the art and I love building little houses. And then, of course, I've been playing Into the Breach as well.
Oh, yes.
I can't wait to, that came out yesterday and I have not had a chance to get it yet, of course, but yeah, I can't wait to sink into that one.
I am not great at it, but I do appreciate it. Me and James were talking about this earlier today. I think we have the same brain in that so much of it is about thinking sort of a move ahead, and my brain is much more of a real-time strategy brain. I like to react to things as they're happening. I'm not very good at planning, so I make a lot of terrible decisions and sacrifice a lot of innocent people. But yeah, it's just a little piece of perfection, really.
Yeah, I think the brutal difficulty, or I wouldn't.
I mean,
I hate to like.
I'm playing on normal, and I feel like it's not babying me early on, which I like. But yeah, I'm not.
I hate to like come off as the gamer guy who's like, oh, it's so hard. It's good because it's hard, but it's I think it's a complete. What I love about it is just like all the information is there. You can see what are they called? The Zach, the Zuck, the Rack, the Zek, the Zek. You can see the moves they're planning. Yeah. Yes, the Vec. At the same time you plan yours, so you can look you have all the information there. If you make a mistake, it's probably because you just didn't, plan optimally or aren't familiar enough with your units. But it's I think it's a nice foil to XCOM in that way, because those. I think if anyone likes strategy games like these. Anytime you've had a 98% chance to hit something and it's gone the wrong way, it has been the most infuriating. It's a terrible feeling, and none of that is here in this game. It's all plain and obvious. You just have to be smart enough and familiar enough with the systems there.
I like the variations as well. Like one of the levels I was playing last night had a train that moved across. A couple of squares at a time that you had to try and protect, and I just like little things like that to kind of vary it up, so it's not just.
I crashed my train,
and it's meant to be played like over and over again, right? Because it's by the developers of FTL, and so it's similar to that. You just kind of fail and you play again and again, which really appeals to me. And I liked FTL a lot.
Some of your progress carries up. So there's like, as you play more and more and more, you will unlock different like unit types, and you can, the complexity ramps up in that way. But also you can carry over between playthroughs. Like you get to choose one survivor to try in the next timeline, this next simulation or whatever, to carry over, and they usually have like some kind of cool buff or something to it. It makes you attached to the characters within the mechs themselves, which is a nice touch. And I also appreciate that in these matches you're mostly trying to save like humanity as opposed to like just kill everything and save the mechs. Like your mechs are disposable. Sometimes you need to put them in the way of danger to save a building from crashing and stopping the power grid from going offline. So
that's cool. Yeah.
I have this morning as well. Also, obviously purchased and downloaded Where the Water Tastes Like Wine.
Well,
but I have to wait till I get. I get to play less games during the day than you would think, so I have to wait till I go home for that one.
Yes, I actually have also been playing Where the Water Tastes Like Wine, so I haven't had time to like spend hours and hours, but I've played a good hour or two. And
well, I remember seeing it at Day of the Dead. So I'm probably getting ahead of the schedule. But I remember seeing it and just being immediately drawn to it, and I remember I was telling James that I stole a bunch of your stickers as well.
Oh, good.
Some good art. Some good art.
So,
some really good art.
A bunch of the stickers. Yeah, when you weren't looking.
I'll just mention two other games I've been playing real quick. Vermintide 2 is a game. I don't know if you guys are fans of cooperative shootery style.
I haven't played that, but I used to paint Skaven
miniatures
for Warhammer, so I'm already on board here.
It's good if you like those kind of asymmetrical cooperative games or competitive. I don't know if you can actually play as the Skaven in it, but it's good if you like that kind of us against the horde game. But also if you're a Warhammer fan, it's got some of like the most well realized scenes and worlds.
It's really pretty.
It's so beautiful, and the Skaven like are, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I loved Redwall growing up, but I just love fighting the Skaven. They're so funny and strange, and seeing a horde of rats pour over a hill is just, it's you know, it does something to you. It's really cool. I haven't had a lot of time to play that, but I did the beta, and it seems like more of that with, you know, if you like the loot systems and the grind and all that, there's more to that as well. But I'm not a huge fan of the, you know, the RPG stuff in there, but it's cool and it's pretty. Also finished Bayonetta, which gosh, I don't know. It blew my mind in a lot of ways, just as far as character action goes. But that story was pretty whoa, over my head. But I don't know what I expected, to be honest. Yeah, that's about it for what we've been playing, I think. Unless there's anything else. And with that, I think we'll move on to this demo. This, or at least an introduction to Where the Water Tastes Like Wine.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so let's get this laptop open here. And maybe while we get set up, you can kind of tell us, well, first of all, the most obvious question I have is, where does the water taste like wine?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is it answered? Do we get their lore explanations or hints?
Sort of is answered, but no, I mean, the title comes from like a folk song and also a folk saying that kind of goes back into the mists of history. No one's really sure where that comes from. But it speaks to, I think, this very American idea that somewhere we can find what we're looking for, the American dream, right?
Okay.
And, you know, like Big Rock Candy Mountain, things like that.
Yeah,
you know, you're always searching for that kind of place. And so, you know, where does the water taste like wine? I think that's a question for you. Where would you go to find that place?
That's what I'm trying to find out, man. I think we're all trying to find that out.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's the idea.
All right. Let me switch to the laptop feed here. We're not going to have audio, unfortunately, just because of our setup, but listeners can hear what's going on.
Yeah.
And you'll hear some interesting voices, I'm sure.
That's true. I imagine we'll talk about that.
Yes, we will. So as we go along here, just kind of we'll let it play out a bit. But,
sure, yeah. So,
Stars
here we
fill
are.
the sky above, and in front of you.
It's hard to know when to continue. The voice acting in this game is
it's really good.
Amazing.
It's really good.
Right here, this is narrated by Keith Farley, who was in theme in Mass Effect, and so he just has this amazing voice that, you know, is a pleasure to listen to as he pours these stories into your ear. But this is obviously the opening cutscene where perhaps ill-advisedly joining a mysterious poker game somewhere in the United States. Right, I mean, what could go wrong, right?
Got a tangle of things here, but we will get some audio.
You sit down and join the game. It's a cheap buy-in.
I mean, like I think I've said before, I love the
very good.
the art style of the game. How close is it to kind of what you originally
fiddling with
sketched out on
dice
the back
gets
of a
good
napkin?
cards.
You know, as far as art goes, I didn't really have a good idea of what the game would look like to begin. But luckily, the very first person I talked to about working with me was this spectacular illustrator named Kellen Jett, and he defined the look of this game. He said, you know, okay, this is, we talked about ideas, we looked at some inspiration, like old kind of woodblock prints and the illustrations in storybooks, things like that. And we sort of came up with this very illustrative look that's heavily based on his style. And I think it looks amazing as well.
It does look pretty dang good.
One by one, the other players leave the table. Sometimes with pique or with wry humor, leaving their winnings with you or the man in gray.
So we're playing poker against this mysterious man in gray. Who could he possibly be?
This will be a nice audio experience for the listeners too, just on iTunes, I'm thinking.
Right, yes.
Kind of plays nicely.
Oh, look at that hand.
Uh-oh.
Finally, it's just you and the man in gray. He looks at you, full of humor, and winks. last hand?
Sure. Why not?
He
All right.
deals, you draw, and look at your hand. It's good. It's great. The best hand, in fact. A royal straight flush. Spades. Aces high.
Okay, nothing
But
could
the man
possibly
in
beat
gray
this, so
pushes
let's just keep
forward
going,
his
of
whole
course.
pile. You're not sure exactly how much it is, but it's more than you've got. You can't match that. The man in gray stops you. Now, if you like, I'll let you wager your word. I know you'll be good for it. Just promise you'll pay the debt, however I ask.
So all these stories that show up in the game are sort of structured like this. You have an encounter and some choices that you can make often about what exactly to do. Since this is the beginning of the game, we don't have a whole lot of choice, but we're just going
The man in gray smiles.
to take the mysterious man at his
All right,
word.
then.
Why not?
I'll call.
Sealing it with blood.
Uh-oh.
It's your hand in his. How did this happen?
Oh, God.
Oh no.
It's a wolf.
It's a wolf.
That's very rarely good news.
It's,
Yes.
I wouldn't think
Wolves
so.
Show up. It's not a great thing.
Well, your luck wasn't so good, was it? That's quite the hand, but not for the game we're playing. I'm afraid you owe me. Your life, sure, but more than that, your labor.
Those are some dulcet tones.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
yeah.
like, I feel soothed right now, even though I'm looking at this scary creature.
Beautiful. Oh. Wonder who
You
that
see,
is.
this land is built on stories. It's one big story, this country, woven of many small ones. Few of the small ones are strictly true, and the big story is mostly a lie.
So
All the stories and songs and myths and legends start somewhere, with a seed. As they're told and retold and passed around, they grow and change to become the stories we know.
So obviously this is our wolf telling us what we owe for losing to him here and laying out what the game's going to be like for the player.
To pay your debt to me, you'll be carrying stories, finding the seeds first and then spreading them, telling them onwards so they can begin gaining strength. This is no light task. Stories are heavy. Most of the stories you'll find will be small seeds. They might be true, but they'll grow wild and unbelievable with the telling. The more important stories are the true ones, the ones people will tell you about their own lives. Those often get lost in the weaves of the big story.
So that's the important part of your task now, finding these
The
true
more
stories.
true stories you can find and tell, the more you can weave that truth into the big story. Tarnish it a bit, perhaps, but isn't a dingy and battered truth better than a shining lie? Now, go ahead. You tell me a story. I'll trade you some information about your task.
So this is sort of the interface for conversations, which you'll have a lot of through the game. There's 16 different characters. Each of them was written by a different person, actually.
Yeah.
And those are the true stories that you're trying to seek out. You're trying to find these people and learn what they have to say. And so this is kind of an introduction to that. We're telling some stories. These aren't ones we've collected. They're tutorial stories, but this is the idea. Is we can if we tell this story about travel, the wolf will tell us something about traveling.
Gotcha.
And it sounds like my audio just cut out. Does
Uh-oh.
someone else?
Yeah, mine did too.
Uh-oh. Well, hopefully the listeners, the viewers, can still hear this,
We'll double check.
but.
We'll get to a point here, and
Yeah, we
I will
can
just
fiddle
rejigger
a
the
little bit.
audio and see.
So that's the way this goes, is asking these questions of the wolf and going on. in order to avoid spoiling the tutorial and get to see more stuff, I'm going to go ahead and just exit out of the
Sure,
conversation early here, though.
All right, cool. I'm going to check the audio real quick. And
Sure, yeah.
Go ahead and keep talking and explain what's going on.
Yeah, so here we go. He's sending us on our way. Maybe we'll meet again, or maybe not. I can tell you probably will. Go off into the wild, and I really hope that everybody watching can hear this right now, because there's really amazing music going on. The soundtrack was composed by Ryan Ike, and it sort of covers folk and bluegrass and blues and jazz and all the sort of American music that's out there. And as you wander through the country, it changes depending on where you are. So here in the northeast of the country, we might be listening to some Appalachian style stuff, and as you get to the south, it would be more bluesy, things like that. But I'm tasked with finding stories, so let's go do that. Here, this looks promising. Here we go. Once again, Keith's fantastic narration. A story about people ripping apart a car. Who knows what's happening?
When we get to a point, does the game kind of save your progress automatically?
Yeah, it does. Yep.
Okay, we might just like exit real quick and
sure,
and come back
see if
in.
we can get the sound going on.
Yes,
yeah, no
yes,
worries.
just to be sure.
But here we go. Like, this is an example of this kind of choice that's happening here. We've got these couple of innocent gals who want a cigarette. Sure, let's lend them a cigarette. Why not? Oh no! Draw pistols and shove you hard into the dirt. No, never seen them before. Oh, so it turns out that they're bootleggers. They're, we're still we're in the northeast corner of the country here, so we're still near the Canada border, and these two women have been running over from Canada, because of course we're in the Great Depression era right now, and Prohibition's still going strong, and this is a good way to make some cash. But they got busted. But having that little encounter gives us this story about these women arrested for bootlegging. And now would be a good time to exit out. So
yeah, let's do that.
Go ahead and quit, and we'll see if we can get anywhere here.
Yeah, apologies everyone. This is sometimes how it goes.
Looks like the Windows volume maybe.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm muted.
I don't know why either.
Speakers.
Not hearing.
Not hearing the ding, huh?
No.
All right, 1 second. Check the
In a way, it's comforting to know that even PC gamers struggles with
a computer.
Tech problems. That's yeah.
This would happen
That was the
during
best
the
part.
one demo, though. All right, 1 second.
No worries. So, obviously, there's a lot of stories to wander around and pick up, since that's the task here. We have actually 203 of those little kind of stories that you can see there. And each of them's unique, and each of them offers sort of multiple branches through there, and you might get different stories out of it depending on what you choose. You can decide sometimes that something is a love story, or maybe it's a tragedy, and what you get out of it in your inventory comes from your choices there. And they're scattered all over the U.S. This is an open world game, so like I said, we started up in the kind of northeast corner up in Maine, but we can walk all the way to Los Angeles and cross the whole country, except for Alaska and Hawaii, but because you can't really walk there. But then the other stories, what you're trying to do with these stories is you meet these characters, and that's sort of like a scene similar to when you met the wolf earlier. You kind of sit across the campfire with them, and that's when you get to use the stories you've collected to kind of unlock their stories.
And when you're kind of traveling around, I'm sure you'll show us this in a minute, but is there anything that that stops you, or is it completely you can just head wherever you want?
You can go wherever you want. Sometimes you'll run into things like rivers, which you need to cross in particular places, or like mountains. So you run into the Rocky Mountains, and there's only a few ways across that.
Yeah.
You can't go north to Canada or south to Mexico, but other than that, the world is your oyster, and you'll kind of have to cross the U.S. a few times to get all the characters. What will happen is when you talk to someone, they'll eventually move somewhere else, and you'll have to follow them if you want to continue their story.
Yeah.
So the stories you collect, some of them, like that one about the bootleggers, are sort of made up. What we did was we got a bunch of photographs from Depression era thing and made art based on that, and also some art just created from nothing, and gave that to writers, and they got to write little stories about whatever art they saw and what they thought was happening there. It's really cool because during the Great Depression, the U.S. government sent out photographers. Actually, it was called the Farm Security Administration, and like Dorothea Lange was the most famous one. But they went out and they collected photographs of everything that was happening during the Depression. So we had this huge database of actual pictures of what the country was like at that time to work from, and so we made stories based on that. But not all the stories are just made up like that. Some of them come from traditional American folk tales. Like you can meet Pecos Bill or Sasquatch or the Jersey Devil, Casey Jones and John Henry. All those kind of classic tales, and you get to see them start as whatever little nugget of truth those stories might have originally had. There probably was really someone who died working on the railroad, and then that grows into the fable of John Henry, or maybe there really was a cowboy named Pecos Bill or something who turned into this legendary figure. And so you get to watch that happen in this game. Because what happens when you collect these stories and you tell them to different characters, they'll tell them to other people, and they'll tell them to other people, and so on and so forth. And eventually you'll get to hear your own stories come back to you, but they'll be bigger and stranger and weirder. And so that's how you kind of level up the tools at your disposal, is by sharing around these folk tales and spreading them like the wolf tells you in the beginning.
How did you find, you mentioned there that you used kind of a bunch of different writers. How did you find those people? Were they people you already knew, or people whose writing you liked? Or
Yeah, so in the beginning it was people whose writing I admired. I approached people like Gita Jackson and Lee Alexander and Cara Ellison, folks that I knew were just amazing writers, and asked them to write some pieces for me. And then from there on, those people introduced me to other folks, and I did some calls on Twitter and things, and I eventually collected a amazing list of writing talent, some spectacular games journalists, also people like Emily Short, who writes a lot of interactive fictions, other people from the IF community.
Yeah.
So it's been spectacular working with all these talented folks. Like I said, every character is written by a different person, and all these little stories are also written by a whole group of talented writers.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the audio working at the moment. I have no idea what happened.
That's a shame.
It is,
like I said,
I know,
the voice acting and the music is great.
It is excellent.
But we can at least look at the
I think what I'll do is,
wander
I'll
around.
layer in maybe another demo in the final mix. But yeah, we can at least talk about what we're seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. So here I am wandering. Let me actually open a map so that everyone can sort of see. Like I said, we're starting out here in Maine, and
oh wow,
the game covers the whole country. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff to do here. Yeah, and you can see icons of characters we can meet and cities you can visit. The roads traversing the country. There are train stations. You can hop on trains at rail yards and ride them across, of course, because that's a very hobo thing to do. But right now, we're kind of stuck walking, so we're gonna head down and collect a few more stories before we get to talk to our first character, who's down near Boston.
So the pace of this game is, I think, for a lot of people, they might experience it. They'll be like, "Why can't I run? Why can't I do this?" What are you trying to make them feel, and what's the intent of a slower, sort of contemplative?
Yeah, that is absolutely something that's come up a lot. People don't always gel with the very slow pace of the game. It's absolutely intentional. It wants both to give you time to sort of digest the stories, and also give you space between them, so that this feels like a wander, so that it feels like a quest, right? Also, you have just been cursed. You've been
that is true.
You're wandering this country, and it's the Great Depression, and it's not an easy time to be a hobo on the roads here. And this is sort of a grinding quest to seek out these stories and carry their truth back to the wolf.
Right.
So the slow pace is deliberate, but it's not always slow.
Right.
You can do a number of things to travel faster in the game. For one, we haven't been told this by the game yet, but you can actually hold down. I'm doing left bumper right now, and I'm whistling, which unfortunately we can't hear, but I'm whistling along to one of the songs. And as long as I press the right buttons in the right order, we'll move faster. So that's one way to do that. We're also coming up on a real road here with real cars. And of course, since this is a hobo game, one thing that we can do here is we can hitchhike, like the game just told us. So I'm just holding out my thumb here, waiting for a car to pass me by. And there it is, and I'm going to hopefully ride this car all the way into Boston.
I love the difference in scale of, you know, the giant skeleton striding across in a tiny car.
Yeah, so this is supposed to feel kind of like a map, right? That's why we've got all the state names there. We've got the city names floating overhead. It's very iconic. And it also takes a lot of inspiration from JRPGs. You know, you often have that kind of world map thing where you do that, like Final Fantasy VII or things like that. And so everything else is small and you're big. Here we are coming up on a campfire. This it has the hobo code symbol for safe camp floating above it. So
and are some of these actual symbols and such?
They are. These are all real hobo code symbols. Cool. Yeah. So we don't have a lot of stories, so this won't be a very great exchange here. We could have collected more as we went along, but this is the first character we meet.
Do you want to read it for the viewers, Rachel? I'll do it if you don't.
Voice acting.
Okay. We got to give the audio listeners something. I feel bad about. Hey there, stranger. You're welcome to join this fire with me if you're respectful. That is.
That was really good.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is voice acted by This is voice acted by Melissa Hutchison in the actual game, who was Clementine in the Walking Dead.
Yeah. Right on.
It's got some great voice acting going on.
This here,
not that yours is bad. I'm just saying.
I'm dancing for the people. This here's my spot, and I ain't inclined to share it with any bad characters. You can call me Quinn. These here are my venturing companions. Cass is the big one, and the one with the spots is Flip. This is the writing. The writing is doing the work here. Honestly, the writing is doing the work. I usually beat my way on the rails, but the road news said this town was fat and the weather was fine, so I'm taking in the sights and seeing what I can drum up. I want to hear one of them venturesome tales. Got any?
So this is a thing that I didn't talk about before, but basically when you experience these little stories, different kinds will feel different ways to you, right? That bootlegging one that we encountered first, like that's about cops and robbers. Obviously, it's about crime. It's sort of got this thrilling aspect to it. The one that we sort of did a little quickly there about the lost child in the bag, that one maybe felt a little bit more sad, right? So you kind of have to remember that. And when you meet these characters, they'll ask for certain kinds of stories, and when you tell them a story, if you tell them the right kind of story, then you'll kind of gain their trust and you'll move further in. And if you do that enough times, you get to the next chapter of their story, and when you finish all the chapters, you'll learn more about them. So here we go. They've asked us for a thrilling story now, and so we luckily have that one about these women arrested for bootlegging, and I'm going to tell that.
Whoa, quite a story, stranger.
So that went over well. We can see that eye at the top there is starting to open up, and it also it moves from left to right through the course of the night. So by the time it reaches the right side there, the night will be over, and we'll have to move along.
Okay, so you can't just sit there forever.
Right. Yeah. We don't have enough stories to finish out the night anyway, but we're gonna do that.
Authority, bosses, and such.
So because we told a story that involves authority, involves the cops cracking down, that's what they're latching onto, and they're saying like, oh, this is a story about authority. Let me tell you about my experience.
I ain't nobody's little Angeline, if that's what you're asking. I take care of myself and my dogs. I love this writing. I don't need no jocker looking out for me, so if you're offering, don't. Tisk. I thought I told you to be respectful.
All right, so the writer for this one, she went and looked up a bunch of period hobo slang and stuff. So that's why you're getting things like Angelina and Jocker and
You want to keep enjoying my spot or not? Think about that.
So as you tell these characters things, they'll sort of their personality will start to emerge, and this kid is pretty prickly here.
Yeah. Hey, do you got any really thrilling stories to tell? So now you have to kind of revisit your catalog and look for a thrill. I'm hankering for one of those.
Yeah, exactly. So unfortunately, like this one we have isn't really thrilling. I can tell it anyway, and it won't gain me more trust, but they'll still tell me about the topic. So this is a way that you can kind of stretch out your encounter with the character. Is if you want to explore all the story that they have in their first chapter, you can maybe tell them not the ideal kind of story, and you'll drag it out a little bit more.
All right, cool. Well, that sure was a downer. Give me a good adventure tale instead, any day. Freedom. Well, teacher used to talk about freedom like America was eat up with it, but the tramping kind seems to be just about the only real freedom still in supply. Ain't no freedom from an empty stomach or bad weather unless you're rich. Hey, tell me one of those exciting stories. The listeners are loving this.
I'm sure. So one thing you'll start to notice as you meet these characters is that certain ones of them really like various kinds of stories. So here, Quinn's asked us for exciting stories 3 times in a row, which normally won't happen, but they really like those. And so the next time we meet them, we might rearrange our story inventory so that we have more exciting stories to tell.
Oh, so okay, instead. So you can only choose from. I guess at what point do you overfill and what point
right,
does
so
that
you kind of have this deck of stories, and in each category, you have 3 available at any one time at most, and then so we can't tell any more stories because we're out, but we're gonna take off, and Quinn tells us where they're going next.
Leaving already? Well, me too. I think I'll go check out what's happening up the road this way. Maybe I'll see you around. The tramping life suits me just fine. Every day's adventure. With things being so depressed, folks walk around like it's the end of everything good, but it ain't. Plenty nice things to see if you know where to look. Aw, that's a nice little some wisdom.
Good, yeah. So I can look at the map and see where they're going to end up next. I can also. Let me see. So I was talking a little bit about this is your story inventory, right? And so as we collect more stories in every category, this is where you can go in and sort of swap them around for different types. You'll also notice that there's a little eye icon over there to the right, so that shows us what level this story is at, how far it's. Because they grow as you share them and tell them. So let's go find a place where we can maybe share, see whether that has happened and whether we get to see this story change and grow. There's also, as we've kind of walked past these, but there's cities. I'll go visit New York in a second here too. Here's a spot. So here we go. We can go hear a story, and
I'll just read it out for the listeners because I like these. I think this is like, I don't know. They're very concise and well written. So I'm gonna give them a little taste, and I won't do over the top of the VO though. A long black car growls up in front of this hotel. Out steps a woman in an extravagant hat and coat, followed by a whole crowd of hangers-on. Is she a singer? An actress? You don't recognize her face, but to your surprise, you recognize the story she's telling. Listen in. In a sharp transatlantic accent, she's telling everyone in her party a story about the shootout between the female bootleggers and the cops. Hey, it's clearly the story of the women arrested for bootlegging, but changed in a few entertaining ways. Keep listening in. Isn't that something? She asks. Her various followers agree. She pays the driver of the limousine and sweeps into the hotel like a thunderstorm of red velvet. That's nice. Someone should do a picture about it, you hear her exclaim. That's nice.
Yeah, so there we go.
Hey.
We have this story that we actually experienced about these women being arrested for bootlegging turns into a shootout, which is you know, way more exciting, right?
Yeah.
And then so we can go in here and look at, let's see, where was that one? Oh, that was authority down here. And now it's
right.
turned into this other story instead, this bigger, better story.
And does that become more potent when you use it with
exactly? Yeah, if you use that with characters, it'll gain their trust faster than the more mundane stories that you might have. Here I am. I'm going to visit New York. It's a big city.
It's about the accurate
like
size.
Good time, right? Yeah.
Oh wow! So those different cities bring different options.
Yeah. So you know, here we are in New York. Every city you can do these same things, but depending on where you are, we can, you know, like here we are visiting this store because it's New York. Of course, you can get a bagel or a slice of pizza. So unfortunately, we don't have any money because we're a poor hobo. So. You know, only so much you can do. We do have the option to earn money here. That could make us either panhandle or beg for or work for money, depending on what we want to do. And if you play it right, potentially you can earn some cash out of that. We also have a train station. Again, we don't have any money, so we can't go anywhere. But if we could travel quickly and safely by train. And then every city also has its own little adventure to have in here. So I'm going to explore. And this is the story from New York.
All right, I'll read it out then. Okay. The engines belch black smoke as the ferry churns gray water into froth. Sorry, it's kind of far away, guys. A broad-shouldered figure leans out over the rail, eyeing the skyscrapers on the horizon. Nearby, a man and woman speak in low, urgent voices. He takes her wrist gently. She is weeping softly. And then we have the option to listen to the couple or talk to the man.
And here's an option too, where when I switch between them, if you notice the icon changes here, so it looks like talking to the man will give us another story about freedom, right?
Okay.
And listening to the couple will give us a story about love. So here we not only have a choice of like, which of these would I rather do, which is more interesting, but we can also think strategically and be like, oh, well, if I want to hear people tell me about love, maybe I want to listen to the couple because that's you know, that's a type of story that I don't have yet. So I'm going to choose that.
I wish you didn't have to go, she says. There's got to be work on some of those buildings going up. His thumb skates over her pulse point. I've checked every day for a week. There ain't. I'll be back, though. Got your picture in my wallet, don't I? It's not forever.
Again, we have a choice of turn away or keep listening.
I kind of want to... It's a private moment, but I kind of want to know. I can't help it.
Okay, let's keep listening.
Her words are split by a sob. Might as well be. Our parents didn't come to New York for this. She leans against him, the wind tossing her hair. He pulls her to his chest. I'm leaving because I got to go. If there was another way. They stand together, close, quiet, in the stiff breeze. Move on.
Aww, that's the end of that story. So the couple parted by unemployment. So that's a love story, but it's probably a sad one.
Yeah.
You know, seeing how it ended there. So that's something to keep in mind for later. But so in that one, we had some choices that changed the nature of the story.
Yeah.
We also have stats in the game, though. So if we go here, we can look. Like we saw in the city, we don't have any money right now, but we are well rested and we're at full health. We're not injured. So, however, if you make maybe they're not the wrong choices in these stories, but if you make certain choices in these stories, potentially you can get injured. You know, you can lose or gain money. You can, you know, get, and as you wander, of course, you'll get more and more tired. So you want to rest at campfires periodically to have that experience, to rest up and regain that.
And like, do you have to babysit those a lot? They're not like running out all the time, or
they're not running out all the time. It's pretty light, but it is something to think about. And you know, if you make a choice in a story, like sometimes choosing something that hurts you might be a better story than the other way. So you kind of have to think about it.
Here we are, another one. I'll read to our listeners in this Storytime Hour. The stream is a clear, reflective shade of blue, unusual in this region where the bog iron colors the river's brown. Across the way, a goat with great leather wings, laps up the water. Its sunken red eyes fixed on your every movement. So, I like the option. Take stock of the situation.
Yeah. So we're in New Jersey right now. I wonder.
Okay. So they're definitely true to the. All right.
Yeah.
You now notice the unnatural absence of wildlife. No fish swim in the stream. No birds sing in the trees. The winged goat drinks with a forked tongue, only abstractly concerned with your presence. And we can drink water or approach goat.
Yeah.
Rachel?
I feel like I want to approach the goat.
You want to go see if it wants it? All right.
I
Over the hill, a scorched one-room house lies abandoned. 2 of its 4 walls in ruins. The goat rears up, front hooves, curled, and stretches its wings out to their full breadth. Draw closer or leave.
Draw closer.
I mean, we got to commit now.
Right, exactly. We've seen it, yeah.
The goat opens its mouth and wails, a protracted, shrill sound indistinguishable from the cry of a human infant. It only begins to stop when you take several steps back. Jeez. And we can leave now. The winged goat does not follow. Instead, it lies down inside the burnt house, surrounded by portraits of a large family. Glass frames stained brown from smoke. So that's kind of a you get the whole like breadth of that the Jersey Devil myth, because I do remember watching shows or like some reading about it back when. There is it was based on like a house that burned down, or someone who burned their infants, or it's like a death in the family. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
so it's
it's true to life, or true to the life of the folk.
Some family that died in this horrible fire, and the Jersey Devil sounds like an infant. It's pretty intense. So I'm gonna actually.
Now we've got a scary story.
We do. I like the scary ones are my favorite. I found some twins in my.
Oh, you found the creepy
I found
twins.
the creepy twins, and they are freaking me out.
So I'm going to go over here and just hop a train so we can
it.
see what that's like. There we go. So this one, this is the Reading Railroad, famous for Monopoly, and we're taking it from all the way to Pittsburgh here. I'm going to do it. And this is, so hopping a train gets you places quicker, and you also have the chance of meeting a character.
Right.
But it comes with some risks, because you are doing it illegally after all. And it turns out, as we hop off, here's the cops, the railroad bull.
Yeah, as you hop off the boxcar, you suddenly feel the heavy hand of a railroad bull on your shoulder. Now, where'd you come from, he asks, in a way that indicates he doesn't care. I don't think he does. You don't mess with Cumberland Gap's cars. The beating that ensues is efficient and brutal. An efficient beating is a scary thing to me, as if it's been practiced and
I'm sure
perfected.
it has. Look at that guy. Okay, so now you can see, like, we're hurting. We got beat up by these cops, and our life has drained away. So we have a few options. As we saw in cities, there's like stores that we can go to and spend money to get our health back. We don't have any money right now. We could earn some, or try and find some things like that. There's also if we explore kind of the little hidden spaces and things like that, we might also find places that are marked with hobo code again, where we can go to either rest or find food and things like that to help us recover from this injury.
Cool.
Right now, I'm going to keep heading west, though. You can see the Ohio River off to our left there. The stars are coming out because night has fallen, and
it's pretty.
There we are. Yeah.
Peaceful, except for the whole dying thing.
Yeah, except for the fact that we're slowly dying.
Yeah.
Luckily, as long as nothing else hurts us,
and that we'll
survive.
Hung out with the devil goat.
Right. A few creepy things happening here, but
wow.
Yeah, and of course there's still cars going by there to the side. And here I am, I'm approaching a regional border, so I'm moving from the northeastern United States, and I'm heading into the Midwest. And we can't hear this right now, but what's happening is the song that was playing is transitioning to more Midwestern style music going on here, because we're in that region. And in general, the stories will change to fit where you are. So there was creepy twins and the Jersey Devil in the Northeast. Out here, it might be things with farms and stuff like that. There's also a character right there. I'm going to go pick up another story before we visit. I don't know how much more time you want for, but
probably about, I'd say like 5 to 10 minutes of time.
Cool.
Left. All right. The storm swept in just before sundown. I think I did this one. The storm swept in just before sundown, heralded by a purple sky and electricity in the air. You sought shelter alongside a grizzled farmer. All he can do is pace, muttering to himself. Can't just stay here, you catch. Got to find her. Who? Is our option. He looks up at you. My daughter was out down the road. He balls his fists. Ah, fuck this. He hauls open the door, shielding his face from the fierce dust. He runs out into the storm, and we can stay inside or try to help him.
So looking at our options here, try to help him is going to lead us to a story about family, and staying inside is going to lead us to one about death or destruction.
Which
isn't necessarily bad for us, but it's you know,
bad
it's
for maybe the players.
Yeah, who knows?
I think I tried to help him when I played, but Rachel, what are you feeling?
Well, if you tried to help, let's stay inside.
Okay,
Hey, we can stay inside.
Screw that. The maelstrom has turned the world a murky red. The farmer makes it a fair distance, but you see him stumble. A whirlwind of dust forms, coalescing into a great dark shape which looms over him. And we have an option to shout a warning now. We do it. The storm swallows your warning. God damn. The dust thing, that's not written there. The dust thing engulfs the man in his body. The storm whips faster, cutting off your view. And we can shut the door. That's our option here. You don't manage any sleep. The storm settles in the early hours. You find the farmer laid out in the street, his corpse a shriveled mass. He has one arm stretched out in front of him as if to crawl. Good Lord. That is eerie.
Yeah.
That's tragic, I will say.
So yeah, now that we're in the Midwest, we're starting to get stories about the Dust Bowl and things like that. And there we go, new story, the monster in the maelstrom. What sucked the life from the farmer's body?
That's
we don't
spooky.
know. But I'm going to go over here and talk to this person at this campfire so we can see maybe another
let's do it.
Another face here. We still don't have a ton of stories. Normally, you'd stop at every little place and do that, but I don't want to wear out your voice here, so I'm not gonna,
it's all right.
I'm not going to do that.
It's all right. What do we got here? Franklin. I think this is the this is the I ran into this character in my playthrough.
So Franklin's a Pullman porter, which was like the people who dealt with passengers on the kind of luxurious rail cars of the time, and they were all African American, and the passengers were predominantly white, of course, and so it set up this really interesting dynamic. This is, of course, post-slavery, but this is very much a master-servant sort of thing going on, and so he'll maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Why, hello there. Looks like that's a heavy bag you're carrying. Let me get that for you. I insist. You see this uniform? It means you can trust me to make sure this is the most comfortable journey you've ever had in your life. Pretty upbeat. Who am I? Well, I'm no George, I'll tell you that. But that's not important. This trip is about you, friend. Anyway, I'm in the mood for a good, happy story. You got any? Do we?
Well, let's find out.
I mean,
looking at what we
sad love story.
Did, yeah, we've got the bootleggers. We already know that one's thrilling. We've got this goat by pristine water, which is probably not happy. Couple parted by unemployment. Nope. Boy ran away with his father. Nope. And this monster in the maelstrom. Nothing we got. But so we're not going to be able to tell him the right kind of story, but that's okay because we'll still learn something about him. So we get to choose the category that we want to hear him talk about.
I mean, is the baby in the bag the most hopeful of what we have? I mean,
it's been a pretty dire journey.
It's kind of an either-or thing. If it's not at all, then he just won't. We won't move forward. But that's okay. We can hear what he has to say about freedom, which might be, given his job, might be an interesting thing to hear about.
I just like the illustration for that.
Well, that one will probably ruin the mood if I share it in our quarters. If you're looking for freedom, just think about how magnificent a train is, how the railroad binds this country together. Hop on and go anywhere. That's freedom, and that's my life.
So he sounds pretty upbeat.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Have any optimistic tales? I'd like to hear one of those. Yeah,
so he likes happy stuff. Unfortunately, we're not able to please him too much.
Short supply, buddy.
But as you go on with these characters and you get past like their first chapter, they'll trust you more, and so they'll open up more, and you might learn. He's putting on this face right now of kind of his job almost. He's sort of treating you like he might treat a passenger, and maybe in subsequent chapters you'd get a bit more rough, a bit more truth out of him, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Also, this guy, as I said, is a Pullman porter, and a lot of these characters, pretty much all of them, are based on kind of historical, not specific people, but kind of historical archetypes. So we drew a lot of this from research of the history of the U.S.
And how many characters? That's kind of the focus, like the long-term focus of the game is engaging with these characters.
That's right. Like that's your mission basically,
yeah.
is to find all 16 of these characters and go through all of their chapters of story.
Right.
So that's a lot of writing, obviously.
16 characters. Yeah,
16
sure.
characters. Yep.
Wow.
So I'm going to just tell him about these bootleggers, even though it's not quite what he wants.
That's a tall one. Don't pull my leg, okay? Authority? Hopefully people who ride a Pullman car feel a little of that. Yeah. It's about more than a train ride. Not everyone knows what it's like to be the boss, to know what it's like to be skillfully served. Pullman porters give you a taste, so Boss George Pullman will know you'll be back for more. Excuse me. Optimistic tales.
He still wants that.
It's like, please.
We still don't.
Please.
Can't do anything for you here.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, another thing, since we can't hear right now, but I should mention that each of these characters has their own music going on, and it fits like kind of who they are. So that hobo kid we met earlier, they have a kind of banjo-y sort of thing going on, and this character has a big band jazz theme thing. So because the Pullman porters kind of carried black culture out of the cities to the far-flung places in the U.S., including jazz. That's his sound.
Right on. Cool.
So let's see, what do we want to hear about now? Do we want to hear how sad he is? Do we want to hear about death? Some negative stuff.
I mean,
none of these are going to be optimistic.
Yeah. Let's do a sadness, because Rachel's shirt is...
oh, that's right.
got me
It's very
thinking
appropriate.
about it.
It's sad songs, yeah.
The winged goat. Huh. Might not be telling that one to my boys, actually. I don't blame you. That's some nightmares. But sadness, no sadness here. When you ride on one of Mr. George Pullman's sleeping cars, you leave your sadness behind. I can personally assure you of that. Anyway, I'm in the mood for a good, happy story. Still wants the happy ones, guys. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, man. We've had a dreadful journey.
Yeah, this is
Got beat up.
Not anything good for you. We have a sad love story and a death story. Scary death story. What do you think?
Sad love story, I guess.
Yeah,
Let me
we
know.
might get something out of it.
Let's see what he says about
together
love.
in the first place.
Yeah. Well, that one will probably ruin the mood if I share it in our quarters. Oh, poor guy. Love, I try my hardest to put all my heart into my service. But truth be told, I've never seen anything more touching on a Pullman train than a maid who knows how to treat a little baby just right.
Aw,
That's nice.
sweet. And once again, I swear that they don't always ask for these. They're biased towards certain ones.
I think we're
but
just
they
inundating
often do
him
it.
with awful stuff.
Exactly, yeah. He really needs to hear something uplifting here. Okay, well, we only have one story left. It's not going to make him happy.
Might as well.
We're gonna hear something.
I mean, maybe we'll just completely break him.
Yes.
That's a tall one. Don't pull my leg, okay? Death. I've got a few miles on me, but I don't think I'll be hearing that phantom train anytime soon. Sticking with the train theme.
Yeah. So there's actually a Pullman porter kind of legend about this phantom train that comes and collects you when
Oh, wow. So it's
when
a
you
real
die. The 1159. Yep.
Oh, wow. Doesn't mean I don't make sure to always listen, just in case. Another night over, and I have places to be. Next time, head down the rails this way. A porter's life is one of constant movement. Right on. So then you can just go find them if you choose.
Exactly. So you kind of have some options. You can either skip around and try and meet different characters, or you can just follow the same one and see how much of their story you can uncover.
Cool. I hope your trip is smooth and enjoyable. Have you considered traveling by train? Nice.
It didn't work out super well for us, I have to admit. So.
Perhaps we'll meet again on a train or at one of my stops. There's still more I could share with you about the porter's life. Cool.
All right, yeah, and then here we are back on the map, and we can find him. We can also go and check. Here's a list of all the characters, and you can see we haven't met most of them, but we can look and see where we are in each one. Quinn, we're still in chapter 1 of both of them. Quinn, we've got a little bit of progress, and then everybody else we haven't really met yet. So, yeah,
a lot to do and hear and see. Cool.
Yeah,
Right on. Well, that's a nice little introduction to the game. I apologize for the audio. I think what I'll do is the beginning and end of the show, with your graces, I'll insert a song or two from the game.
That sounds great.
And,
the soundtrack is really amazing, and it's out right now. You can buy it on Steam with the game, or it's on Bandcamp, or we actually just announced pre-orders for a vinyl edition of the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a gorgeous thing. So if you go to Laced Records, they have that up on their store.
Right on. Yeah, from what I've heard of it so far, it's like it's one to get on vinyl if you're gonna do it, or at least have in your library. Cool. Well, hey, looking forward to playing more. There's a lot going on there. I think it's a nice respite from violence and
well, it
and
sounded like there was plenty
terror.
of violence and terror.
Well, there's plenty of violence and terror, but of the traditional video game sort. It's kind of I don't know. Growing up, folktales were big in my family, so
I love
it's
storytelling and stories. So.
Oh, good. Well, have I got a game for you?
Oh, what's this game you might? So that's Where the Water Tastes Like Wine is available today.
Yep, that's
Congratulations.
Right. Thank you.
I hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you.
Post-release and forever until the end of time. So as sort of a come down from our experience, introduction to Where the Water Tastes Like Wine, a game about folktales, I've prepared with the help of some colleagues a quiz for you two, and the quiz will be about whether or not you can can you determine whether a folktale is a real folktale or not. After writing these answers down and explaining that concept to my coworkers, they were like, well, now that you've said the names of these, are they not real folktales anyway? So
hey,
they might exist, they might not.
Yeah, we should do a PC Gamer competition for people to write their own folktales based on the fake ones.
Old PC gaming folktales sitting around the overclocked graphics card and
telling stories of the monkey,
spinning yarns. Okay, so let me move this here so you guys don't cheat.
Oh yeah, right.
No cheating.
No eyes down.
Cheating. And we'll start with the first question. And chat, please do partake. Please do partake. So which folktale is real? I'm going to laugh a lot, and I hope I don't get the swineherd who married a princess, or the bean with a heart?
The swineherd who married a princess is. I'm sure that's a folktale.
I mean, that's got to be. It sounds so, but I'm worried about tricks here. But yeah, I'm also going to go with the swineherd. Let's go with the swineherd.
The swineherd. Chat, get your answers in. I'll say them one more time here. The swineherd who married a princess, or the bean with a heart? The bean with a heart. You guys got it right. You guys got it right.
Okay,
you got it. I don't know what lesson there is to learn about a bean with a heart. But hey. Number 2. The shepherd and the viceroy come to fisticuffs, excuse me, or a young monk wanted to have a goose.
The first one sounds like a Livingston special, so I'm going to go
come
for
on.
the second one.
Yeah, I don't know that fisticuffs is ever going to be used in a folktale title.
You're experienced with this, so you're probably going to, damn. Oh, well, I'm trying. We'll at least be entertaining our viewers. So one more time, this is the shepherd and the viceroy come to fisticuffs, or a young monk wanted to have a goose. And most people are getting it. It's a young monk wanted to have a goose. It's the correct
I want to hear that story. Yeah, exactly.
Why did he want to?
I don't know.
Geese are nice.
I don't know.
Wanted Untitled Goose Game is what he wanted.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Looking forward to that too. Which folktale is real? Rotten Apple, Fat Beetle, and Nellie the Vomitous Banker, or Brother Rabbit takes some exercise.
Brother Rabbit.
Yeah, it's got to be Brother Rabbit.
I'm realizing this is a little too easy.
Brother Rabbit, yeah.
Brother Rabbit.
The Chris Livingston ones I had to include because they're so well written. They made me laugh. But you got it. It's Brother Rabbit takes some exercise. Maybe a little lesson about getting out there and getting fit for you.
I'm sure that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Which folktale is real? Arthur reclaims the sword Excalibur from the man with 2 beards, or Arthur's conception and birth?
So
one more time. Yeah. Arthur reclaims the sword Excalibur from the man with 2 beards, or Arthur's conception and birth?
Wow, I can't.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with conception and birth
Yeah.
here. I'm not sure. Like the two beards thing. I don't know that Arthur ever lost Excalibur, but I don't know. You're
yeah, no, I mean there was the lady in the lake, but I don't remember a two-bearded figure.
So are we sticking with birth, or are we
Yeah,
going?
I'm going with birth.
Going birth. We got one birth.
Yeah, I'm also
Two
conception
birth.
Yeah,
You're correct. You're correct. But I'm glad that one threw you off.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's tricky.
That was a fun one. Alrighty. Let's see. We got a couple more. Which folktale is real? The Farmer and the Devil on Island of the Pope Figs, or The Crimson Pitchfork and the Blind Farmer.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this one's tricky. Wow.
There's a couple in there that
Yeah.
might trick you. So one more time. The Farmer and the Devil on Island of the Pope Figs, or The Crimson Pitchfork and the Blind Farmer.
The second one sounds like a Nick Cave album, so I'm gonna go with the
I'd listen to
first
that.
one.
That sounds tight.
Okay, I'm gonna.
The first one seems so intricate.
Yeah, I don't
Maybe
know
it's
that could be. That could be
What-
fake,
what's
but
a pope
just to
fig?
be, I don't know, just to be contrary, I'm going to choose the second one here. There we go.
So
Now
we got
at
one for
least-
Crimson Pitchfork, and you're going with the first one, Pope
Yeah.
Figs. The correct answer is The Farm and the Devil on Island of Pope Figs.
Good job.
I
Yeah,
need to
you got
read
it. I know. What even are these?
But that was a toughie. That was a
I'm
toughie.
gonna lose
That
my
was a toughie.
afternoon Wikipediaing all this.
I'm looking at. Well, okay, we'll see. Which folktale is real? Applebun, the little worm who couldn't spell, or the foolish bald man and the fool who pelted him.
Oh my gosh. The first one sounds like a kid's book, but I'm gonna go with the second.
Second
Yeah,
one?
I agree.
One more time for the viewers: Applebun, the little worm who couldn't spell, or the foolish bald man and the fool who pelted him.
I think too. They're big on fools in folk.
Yeah, you nailed it. That was
Okay,
the
good,
key
good.
there. Was
Yeah,
the fools? It was the
Yeah.
foolish bald man, and the fool. What's the lesson to learn there? They're both fools,
Yeah,
I guess.
I guess.
Don't
be
wigs
bald.
Or
Yeah.
be bald.
But also don't pelt bald people. Let's see here.
There you go.
Okay,
We've just sorted out.
This one's
season,
taking it back a
the
bit.
sequel.
Right, exactly.
This one's taking it back a bit, simplifying things. Which folktale is real? The Wheeled Horse or the Bear Prince?
The Bear Prince.
Yeah, definitely the Bear Prince.
Damn it! You got it. You guys got it.
It's too good.
All right, 3 more here. Let's see. Which folktale is real? The sheep and the pig who set up house, or the grocer and the paste pot?
The sheep and the pig. I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Sheep and the pig who set up
Folktales love
house.
Animals. Yep.
Or the grocer and the paste pot? Correct. It's the sheep. The folktales love the animals doing things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They love the
Yeah,
animals
yeah.
doing things. All right. Which folktale is real? Jester and juggler fight over milk, or how a parrot told tales of his mistress and had his neck wrung.
The parrot.
Yeah.
I think I've read that one actually.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I
Yeah.
remember
Is this a
that from
popular
when I was a
thing?
kid.
Yeah. Well.
Oh my God.
You know,
Well, you know,
as much as
as much as that, a
among
tale.
the hip folktale kids, you know, that one gets a lot
The
of
scene,
airtime.
how's the
Yeah,
folktale scene? You got it. You guys got it, of course. Which folktale? This is the last one. Which folktale is real? The bear and the fox go into partnership, or eat your beans or die screaming, my children.
I really want to read that second one, but I'm afraid I don't think it's real. I'm going with the first one there.
It's yeah, you got it. But I do want to read that damn.
But yeah, we should get someone to write those. I think those are
pretty
all
cool.
Kristen
amazing.
should write
Yeah.
a series of folk tales.
All right. Well, I think after the fact, I realized I had too many animal giveaways in there. But thank you for
No, that was good
participating.
fun.
You're both big
Yeah.
winners in my eyes, and everyone who participated at home. Thank you. And thanks to Chris Livingston for coming up with some just
Those
absurd
were-
bullshit.
Those were very
Beans
entertaining.
or diet
Yeah, I loved it.
screaming.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a few listener questions. We're going to close out here in a couple minutes, but we have time for a few. So in the chat, if you have any questions about PC gaming, about where the water tastes like wine, or whatever it may be, Rachel's here, so last time she's opened it up to relationship
Yeah,
questions too.
I'm happy to help.
So if you want to talk
never
about
get any-
I'm stepping back
finances,
from that
Never
one.
again.
Yeah.
the best flavor of LaCroix, whatever you want, we will answer. Just tag PC Gamer in Twitch chat. We do have a few queued up from the PC Gamer Club Discord. And if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about when I say that, PC Gamer Club is a club for PC gamers. You can go to club.pcgamer.com. It's a $5 a month or $4 a month optional subscription fee. It gets you an ad-free experience on our site. It gets you a digital subscription to our magazine. You get some really high glossy JPEGs of Tub Geralt. You get a free game each month. You get whatever beta keys we tend to get for games or
to hang out in the Discord.
We'll give those to you first. You get to hang out in the Discord. We're kind of opening up to in-game items, partnering with some developers for those too. So if you want, like, gosh, what was it? A cool PC Gamer skin in Elite Dangerous for your ship, you can do that too. It's a pretty cool deal. But yeah, the Discord is a big thing, and we collect answers from that really cool community for the show and read them first. So that's, again, club.pcgamer.com if you want to know more. Side effects may include. Just kidding. Let's read that first one. Where am I? We got a lot of them, but I'm not going to answer them all. John, J-H-A-N, Jahan, I don't know how to say it, asks, so do we categorize our libraries, our gaming libraries, and how? And then beyond that, do we have any brand loyalties for our keys and keys and mouse boards is what I just about said.
Yeah.
Keyboard and mouse setups. So are you guys like really, I think it extends this kind of personality from just your Steam library or itch library or whatever it is, a GOG library, to folder structure on your desktop and such. And I'm pretty messy, I'll be honest with you. I can't keep.
I sit next to you. I can attest to.
It's true. Do you guys organize your digital libraries of any kind?
Only in that, and I'm the same with books and movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Only in that I try to have some way of differentiating. Okay, here's the stuff that you're meaning to play next, because in our line of work we get to see a lot of games, and there's always things that I see and think are cool, and then forget about again. And so it's just trying to make sure that I'm highlighting the stuff that I want to actually play.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I do too. Is at the very top of my Steam library is things I've been meaning to play, so that when I go in there looking for something, I know exactly what I've been, and then I normally just play something that I've always played before anyway. But
there are tools to just for listeners out there. I don't know the name of them offhand, but that will like scan your folders in your Steam library, and then insert metadata that will then transfer into Steam, that will categorize games based on like genres they've been tagged with in Steam's databases. So there are tools if you're really trying to clean it up, because some people, due to humble bundles and key giveaways and such, have huge libraries that
I'm sure.
and Steam does not have really great built-in tools for doing that. But so that's just an option for you. When it comes to mice and keyboards, wow, I had to really think about it. I don't have any brand loyalty. I have zero.
I like and they're kind of a bit of a fetish item in the office, but I just really love the Razer Ornata. The kind of, it's like it's clicky, but it's not mechanical. It's the one that we all fought over when it came in. But yeah, but that's because I'm doing as much typing on my PC as I am
right
gaming. So
cool.
Yeah. So that's about it.
Any brand loyalty?
Not for me.
Whatever works.
Yeah, exactly. I get generic stuff often from Amazon, Microsoft, whatever.
I'm with you. I guess like I do like a certain key feel, but I don't know. Like it comes and goes with the seasons.
Mechanical keyboards are becoming a really big thing now. I've seen a lot of people get into that, and it seems like a big money hole to fall down.
I'm about to pop. I'm about to spill over into that scene, because I've seen some. I love these tiny little, like, well, first of all, they come with like these cores that how can you describe those? Slinky spiral,
like the old telephone,
like the old telephone cords, with really nice fabric or something to cover it up. And then like these keyboards are just the absolute essential space. Like it'll be like, I don't know, something like the size of your hands together, and they're just like packed with these beautiful like weird arrangements of keys that you can customize, and I don't know, you can get different switches you like. And I've seen some like all different kinds of takes, like from like Overwatch themed, like there's a Diva one people made, and it's like this really cool look. I've seen one that's just like meant to bother you because it's just erratic colors, and I don't know. I think that's kind of my thing. I have this idea of a perfect desk with perfect keyboard. And I don't know, but yeah, mechanical keyboards. I think there's a subreddit or something that you can get started on.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of places.
Yeah, thanks for the question there. Let's continue here. Bonus question from Chris86 asks, what is the current hype level for Final Fantasy 15 on PC in the office? Does anyone care?
I don't know. I played it a lot on console.
Oh, okay. So you got your fill. You
yeah,
think?
I'm kind of. It's I'd say be hyped for it. It's probably the best
cool.
Final Fantasy in a long time. It's got a very specific vibe to it, which is very much cute boys on a road trip.
In a weird way, there's like a thematic. I've never played this game, but like what I've seen of the game is like boys on a road trip, like stopping and eating at gas stations.
Yeah.
And just
kind of
driving through scenery, and then like fighting a giant monster here and there.
Getting out of the car to
so
fight a giant
I think
monster.
spiritually, where the water tastes like wine. If you like Final Fantasy 15, you're gonna love where water tastes like wine.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, it's basically that.
It's basically the same
giant
thing.
Monster fights.
Yeah,
you're telling monsters a
You're
story
fighting emotional
instead.
monsters and cultural monsters and
Nicely
so on.
done, seamless.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm excited for the mods, like mostly to see how ridiculous they are. There's already like officially sanctioned like alternate characters, including Gordon Freeman, and like why?
I know. Yeah, I'm excited to see that side of it on PC.
And I remember like the hubbub around the announcement on PC, or there was hubbub initially about like nude mods being a thing, like they will be possible. So I look forward to just the ridiculous nude boys like driving through.
I mean, it's
weird
already
fantasy.
a pretty homoerotic game. Like it's only gonna.
I think it's gonna fill some niches like for sure, and I'm very happy about that. So excited. The PC will open that game up to every audience imaginable. Let's see here. I got a bunch of questions from Shadow Wake. I won't have time to read them all, but let's hop down to this one. How do you avoid the aches and pains of extended gaming? And I think this is a good question because
game development, I imagine.
yeah, because you're probably sitting at a desk a lot, and I think we all sort of get the, I don't know, whether we're working or playing for work or even for fun. You get that kind of dull ache in the back of your eyes.
I have a recurring malady that is known to me and my boyfriend as Sim shoulder.
Sim shoulder?
Sims too much. Because in Sims you're really just having to the mouse, and I get a very specific shoulder problem that I don't get if I'm playing with a pad or the keyboard.
So what do you guys do to like kind of
a good chair? You need a good chair.
Good chair. That's very important. My chair is garbage at home, so I don't sit a lot in it.
I try and go work out at least once a day, so that helps a little bit. I also, luckily, I have a cat, and she refuses to let me sit still for too long. She'll come up and she'll actually literally come up and tap me on the arm, which is just the most adorable thing you've ever seen.
Can't be mad at that.
And exactly, and just meow and try and get me to come play with her. So she's probably the best bit of work-life balance I've
I feel you there. My cat Charlie loves the space between the keyboard and me. So eventually I have to just like get up and go, pet him for a bit or feed him. But yeah, cats are good, but also just don't sit for too long ever. Get up and walk around.
Treat it like a long haul flight. Try and hydrate.
Yeah,
that's right.
Stretch your
exactly.
legs. Bathroom
Also,
breaks.
Yeah, try not to play games for like that long. just don't do that. Like. I don't want to tell you how to live your life.
Just, swap from do what I do and swap from the PC to your Nintendo Switch to a console.
Yes, exactly.
Just keep moving.
Move around. It's good for you. So good question there. I'll save some of your questions. Shadow Wake had just a list of them and said some really nice things about the show, which made me happy. So I'll get back to those. Thank you very much. Here we go. Mildoz asks, games offering small, ready-to-play sections as a compromise to long downloads and larger file sizes has always seemed backwards. I'm trying to parse what the hell that means right now. In linear games of old, you just switched disks when the next segment of content was ready. What if devs started doing this with downloads for games that can support it? Reduce file sizes for people with data caps and allows a complete experience and quickly downloaded and installed package.
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, so
As someone who
game
is
size.
regularly told off by Comcast for reaching their data limit, I can understand. I mean, he basically wants episodic content for everything.
I mean,
there are also those games that started doing that thing where you can begin playing and then it sort of
Yeah.
begins to stream the download
Yes.
in the background sort of thing. I don't know that I've ever played one of those, so I don't know how well it works.
I think the only one I've done of that is Shadow of Mordor. I think did that, and it was a nice idea, but ultimately frustrating because you're
right.
always going to finish. You know, it meant that I just kept finishing content, and then I would hit a particular cutscene, and it would be like, "Oh, you can't." You
You
can't
gotta
go any
wait. Well,
further
you're
and
either
stuff,
playing too quickly or your
Yeah.
internet's too slow.
Yeah.
I guess is. But yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was afraid of.
It's a tough question because the games, technology is capable of rendering games with high resolution textures and like uncompressed audio and all these big things, flashy things that a lot of people like. But I think developers it's a hard time getting those squished down at the
Yeah.
same time that data caps. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that, and I think that's something we're all gonna have to grapple with.
I
At
feel
some
that
point.
pain though. I mean,
Yeah.
every time I have to reinstall World of Warcraft or Elder Scrolls Online on a new
Yeah.
machine,
Well, yeah,
that's
it's
like a 3-day operation
Yeah,
right
no
there.
kidding. Yeah.
some of those are huge. Like when I was reviewing Forza Motorsport 7, gosh, I'm confusing it with Horizon 3. I think it was like a 100 gig download or something.
You're
And poor Jared, our benchmarker, because it's a Windows app, I don't think you can like transfer them. You can't just like pull the data and transfer. So he had to download it like, gosh, I don't know, like 10 times or something for every once for every GPU and his data cap. He hit it pretty quickly. I'm pretty sure. So it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing. But yeah, thanks for the question. There was a follow-up, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, nope, never mind. Let me look at the Twitch chat here. JBJ Blaze, who I think subscribed for like 26 months with us, which is crazy. Thank you so much. Asks, do you have any thoughts regarding Overwatch Competitive Season 8, which premieres tonight at 7 p.m. EST or 4 p.m. PST? I haven't really been watching Overwatch League. Have you?
God, we're such bad.
I know.
Such bad representation.
Usually we
You
have
need-
Bo
you
on
need
here of
Bo in
Overwatch,
here,
who is up to date. But I wish I could. I love the idea of getting into a competitive or like following a competitive league of any kind. I can't muster the enthusiasm. I don't know. My interests diverge pretty quickly. But I don't know. I assume there will be losses, wins. There will be good plays, bad plays, and probably a
The win is
teenager.
the friends you make along the
A
way.
teenager saying something vaguely racist at some point, but we'll see. We'll see. Another better question he asks. He calls it a better question, but I don't know where you all stand here. What did you do for Pokemon Day? I've caught my first Pikachu last night. Shit, he doesn't really. Okay, in the next message he says in Pokemon Go, which I was like, whoa, whoa, man. I'm not a Pokemon guy either.
Why are you, James? Why are you asking us questions that we can't answer?
Well, because they're the only ones there, and you guys might be into Pokemon. You might be into Overwatch League. Who knows?
Not into Pokemon, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I didn't
I used
know.
to love the
didn't know
TV
Pokemon Day.
show when I was a kid, but I have not.
Yeah.
delved.
Sorry, JBJ Blaze. We're just we're ruining your day here. Oh yeah, Jared Walton's he's in here commenting on the Forza incident, and yeah, he used 300 gigabytes on Forza in 1 week. He used and Shadow of War was also 100 gigabytes, so
Yeah.
another rough one. But yeah, don't collect Pokemon. I think if you're gonna catch anything, catch all the folktales in Where the Water Tastes Like Wine, available now on Steam.
You're a professional.
Am I?
know it's
Guys
good.
can do voiceover and segues.
But that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for all the questions, and thanks, Yonaman, for joining us and
Yeah,
showing
thanks
us,
again for having me. This has been a lot of
Where the
fun.
Water Tastes Like Wine. Apologies for the audio issues, but we'll make sure to put some music in the show and that people can catch and listen to on their own terms. But yeah, keep in mind we're gonna do this. We do the show every week on Twitch at 1 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/PCGamer. You can catch the audio version usually the following evening or a couple hours later at PCGamer.com/tag/podcast. We put the VOD up on YouTube too, so you can check it there. wherever you like to listen to stuff, you're going to find us. So until next week, keep on. I'm trying to think of a tagline, and I don't ever think about it until I need to. Keep on clicking. Keep on. No. There's nothing. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week.